Casey Jones and Raphael #1 Body Count Part 1. So this came out in October 1994. And it also came out around February and March of 1996. And this is by both Mirage and by Image. So you might be kind of confused on how it can be by two different companies, released on two different years. So pretty much what happened was it came out on Mirage first. And it was supposed to be a 4-part miniseries. And only issue 1 ever came out under the Mirage label. And also, only the first 20 pages ever came out under the Mirage label. And then 2 years later, part 2 came out. But by then, Image owned the Turtles brand, so Body Count got re-released. Part 1 did, and then part 2 and 3 and 4 followed after that. And also, when Body Count Part 1 got re-released, the Image version released a few more pages. So instead of the original 20, the Image version has 26 pages. So yeah, let's just jump right in. I'm going to be doing the Image version just because the Image version is the one that has, more pages with it. So I figure let's just use that. But I did read the original Mirage version. It's exactly the same. The only difference is the Mirage version stops on page 20, while the Image version just keeps continuing, but everything else is the exact same. And this is written by Kevin Eastman. You can really tell that he's the one doing the writing, and we'll get into that in a moment. And the penciling is by Simon Bisley. And I will say I really like Simon's artwork. I will just say I'm not a fan of how Raph looks in this. The cover version looks awesome. Like the cover version right here that you see of Raph looks freaking amazing. I love this design. I will be showing the cover version for the Mirage version at the end of this video. This is the Image version of the cover, and it looks fantastic. Like I like the spiked wrist pads. I like the jeans. Like this is a cool design. Obviously, I love the OG design more, but for trying to do something new and kind of unique, this looks really cool. But when it comes to the interior artwork, Raph looks really bad. And we'll get to that when we get to Raph. So we start off with Casey in the barroom brawl. What better way to introduce Casey than him fighting the crap out of some giant bald dude while a bunch of chaos goes on around him. So the entire bar is just beating the crap out of each other. And eventually we get to a point where Casey gets picked up and tossed out of the bar. And as he's sailing through the air, he crashes into this woman named Midnight. And Midnight hits Casey a few times and then rushes off. That's when the bald dude who threw Casey comes standing outside. He's like, come on, Mr. Jones, you want some more? And Casey's like, no one calls me Mr. Pal. And tackles the bald dude and continues to fight back into the bar room. Meanwhile, with Midnight, she is being chased by this dude in this car. By a group of dudes in the car, and they just like open fire on her and try to do drive-by, but she's able to dodge out of the way. And then that's when we get a flashback. And I will say it is kind of confusing at first because it doesn't tell you flashback. It doesn't say weeks ago or months ago or however long ago this flashback was. It just says Hong Kong, and then we immediately jump to Hong Kong. So it can be kind of confusing. You can kind of like not understand that we're in a flashback. But we're in a flashback, and in this flashback, Midnight is in a car, and she has just dropped off this guy named Johnny and a few of Johnny's men, and they storm this restaurant and open fire on everybody in there. But as they're doing that, the cops are showing up, and so Midnight's like, okay, things are going to get messy. I got to try to take the heat off Johnny. I got to buy him some time. So that's what she starts to do. She starts to shoot at the cops, trying to buy Johnny some time. And the cops open fire, which makes her have to give up the getaway car, which explodes in a hail of gunfire. Meanwhile, with Johnny, he gets up to the private suite, the owner of the club, of the restaurant, and he shoots at the owner. But it turns out that it was just a puppet, and this was all a trap. And so Johnny tries to shoot his way out. A lot of his men end up dying. He sees Midnight, who ends up getting shot by the cops, and Johnny's just bails. The mission is scrapped. Midnight is down. His men are dying. He's got to leave, so he leaves. And then we cut back to present day, but there's no indication that we're cutting back to present day. You just kind of have to figure it out yourself just by looking at the visuals, which again can be kind of confusing. But back in present day, Johnny is hunting down Midnight, and Midnight decides to take shelter inside the bar, where she runs into the bald dude who Casey's fighting, and he slaps her down, and that's when she gets revenge and beats the crap out of the bald dude, and Casey's impressed. Johnny storms in with his men, tells Midnight to come on over, like, you know what you did, you're a traitor, it's time for you to die. She tries to say, like, I didn't betray the family, the facts are wrong, like, I didn't do anything, I'm innocent, you know me. But Johnny doesn't listen to her. So Midnight tells Jones, like, hey, if there's a back way out of here, please show me. So Casey grabs her hand and pulls her into the back room as Johnny's men opens fire on the bar patrons and just litters all of them with bullets. And Casey and Midnight get corner outside, and Johnny is just about to blow their brains out when a metal ladder falls from the sky, crushes some of Johnny's men. When he looks up, Raph is there, starting to fall down. He's going to fall right on top of Johnny. And this is what I mean when I say that the design for Raph is terrible. Everything is okay except for the arms. The arms are just horrifically bad. I mean, look at that. Look at those arms. Oh, that's so terrible. It's too gigantic. It's veiny. The forearms are bigger than the biceps. It's like this is like Popeye Raphael. It looks bad. But yeah, this image right here, this page, this is the end of the Mirage version. So this is where the Mirage version ends, but the image version continues. With the image version, we see Raph. He drops on top of Johnny, takes him down to the ground, stabs his coat arms, and basically pins him to the floor with his sai. And Johnny is able to free himself and start fighting Raph. And we just get a battle moment between the two of them before Midnight pops up behind Johnny, whacks him in the back of the head with a 2x4, and then Casey, Raph, and Midnight make their escape as Johnny watches on. And there you go. That's how Body Count Part 1 ends, and I will say I loved it. This was awesome. This is what I love stuff like this. I love the fact that it's doing its own thing, so, you know. Then again, this is considered canon. While the Image run of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is not considered canon, Body Count, the Body Count run by Image, is considered canon in terms of the Mirage universe. I love this. I love the artwork, again, minus Raph's arms. If the arms were just drawn better, this artwork would have been just fantastic. Other than the arms, though, the artwork is cool. I love it. It's like that gritty 90s Image feel. I mean, obviously, it would have that feel because it is, I guess technically it's Mirage 90s before it became Image 90s. But I love that gritty comic book look. It's always been my favorite. Like the 90s for comics have always been my favorite decade. I'm not saying it's like the best in terms of writing quality. It's just the most entertaining to me. But I love this. I love the introduction of Casey in the middle of a bar room brawl. I just love the fact that that's basically what he does in his free time. He just goes to bars and fights people. And I just like the gritty violentness that we get with this issue. And it seems like this is going to be a lot of fun. So there you go. There's Body Count, or I should say Casey Jones and Raphael, #1, Body Count, Part 1. So this came out October 1994 under Mirage, and then it was re-released around February and March of 1996 by Image. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later.